Salty breeze, old ruins, dusty roads. Do you recall clambering over these walls as a child?
Perhaps. Did we find something at the top?
Salty breeze, old ruins, dusty roads. Do you recall clambering over these walls as a child? Ah, it was an old skull. What a lucky find for a pair of young adventurers.
It was easier to climb these walls back then. Not merely because we're older, but because the ruins are too. Of course. You said we needed to bury him. Do you remember where?
Oh, one would think burying a human skull would stick in the mind, but somehow... no.
An old man was standing here as we passed.
Oh yes, I remember his face as we flew by with a skull in our hands.
He looked as shocked as our grisly companion.
Nothing ever bothers an old Ottoman backgammon player.
This wasn't the right place for a funeral. We were looking for somewhere more appropriate.
Funny, nowadays you love putting men behind bars.
You're a fellow of infinite jest, aren't you?
Everything seems smaller now.
The water level was higher back then.
I remember swimming through this mire while trying not to breathe in the horrible odour. I remember swimming through this mire while trying not to breathe in the horrible odour.
This is where we buried it. It seems that with time, our friend has emerged once more. The skull is ancient. Its likeliest owner was one of the Knights Hospitaller who died during the siege of the fortress. I remember now, you said this skull was my father's.
A child's imagination is a powerful tool. You needed this. A burial process of your own. A ritual so you could begin to grieve.
Here hung those lips that I have kissed, I know not how oft. I felt so alone back then, John. Uncertain. Abandoned by my father.
I know.
The skull wasn't his, though it may as well have been. In the earth, all of us look alike. But putting this man to rest, it did help.
I'm glad, Sherry.
I find myself rather tempted to keep it. If not for sentimental value, then it's archaeological merit.
Sherry, I think we're getting the hang of this.
thought he'd kill the boy. I thought he'd kill the boy. Never seen Giorgio so angry.
I hope the boy's all right. Let's look around, see where he's gone.
Let's hope no one's been hit by this smooth mineral. A deck of tarot cards, very popular among street performers. Someone has over-egged the pudding with these spangles. The name of the original performer has been replaced with Dilwyn.
You know what? Put on the magic cap. I have a feeling it'll help.
It's not actually magic, John.
Well, not to you perhaps, but to a boy, any magician's hat is special.
Should have known better than to jostle a police officer.
Is this familiar to you?
I uphold the law, so I'm not answering your questions.
How do you do?
Excuse me, just one question.
Don't think I can help you, lad.
This isn't working. You might need a different tack.
It's all right, boy. You can come out. Your pursuer has been intercepted by Cordona's finest.
I didn't do... Hey, that's my hat you're wearing.
I know it is. I followed you from your magic stand. Are you okay?
I'm fine. You should keep the hat. It makes you look like the amazing Alonzo. He's the best magician around. It never suited me anyway.
Is that so? Let me take a look at you. You wear your bruises like a badge of honor, a souvenir of your street antics. Your clothes are ragged, yes, but your hair and nails are clean. You're no urchin. This is a rich boy's game, a way to fight off boredom. You made a costume, snuck out from home, and put your skills to the test.
Wow, I guess you do know me.
Clearly. So, tell me, why did you call that man a liar?
Because he is. He told me he's a lord. But no lord has calluses on his hands and sour cabbage stuck in his moustache. He came after me. He caught me with a fist. Nasty bugger.
What did you expect? You embarrassed him in front of his peers and he couldn't admit it. Of course he would lash out. You must be careful how you deploy the truth, Dilwyn. It's a potent weapon, as easily turned against the speaker as it is brandished by him.
Yeah, well, the truth is what people pay me for. I simply notice things others don't. But I think you know what I'm talking about, don't you?
Yes, I can do it too. It's a special kind of magic, street magic. Very powerful.
I never knew there was anyone else like me.
Your abilities come with consequences, Dilwyn. To adults, you're a nuisance. To other kids, a freak. You must learn how to blend in. Bite your tongue.
But I don't want to blend in.
Then they will lock you up. The truth hurts, and the bigger the truth, the further men will go to silence it. Be careful how and when you deploy it.
All right. I mean, it was just an amusement.
Yes, nothing like a swift uppercut to really pass the time. Perhaps when faced with the monotony of this world, you will find a place in your mind to explore instead. There is little to gain in idle provocation. For now, I think you should go home. Your parents might be worried about you. And, if I may, consider applying your brilliant mind to academia. There is still much in this world to be discovered, explored, and explained.
Now you sound just like my Uncle Gilbert. But fine, I'll go. I'm hungry anyway.
Before you go, impress me. What do you see?
You're overconfident, as a way to mask your insecurities. You're more vain than you care to admit. And you notice when people notice you. You act like you don't need anyone, because it's easier to pretend you like being alone than to ask for help. You desperately hope to find somewhere you belong. But you never will. Nowhere, no one will ever be enough. And the truth is, you're terrified. You're too smart and too empty inside. You know how dangerous that is, and you know exactly what you're capable of.
Valiant attempt, but alas, you've missed the mark.
Oh, really? Well, what does John think?
Sherlock, did he just... how?
I don't know.
Killed with one perfect shot to each eye. Can you imagine?
Good day, sir.
Merhaba. Good day to be alive.
And, by extension, a poor day to take a bullet. Why are you just standing there?
I came to take the deceased to the cemetery, but caught sight of Mother Nature's bounty and had to drink my fill. He won't mind anyway. Let me tell you, friend, the sweet sea air, the calming whisper of the waves, it's a salve for all ills.
Do you know what happened here?
Officer said there was a duel, shots fired, and then that fellow took his last breath. Reminds me of last year.
So the inspectors have been and gone?
Of course. Police don't let an undertaker do his work before they finish theirs.
You mentioned a previous incident.
It was in the old city ruins. I remember the deceased was very rich. Front page news, very, very rich he was. But a coin makes a poor shield, as I always say. And who needs it when a view like this is free?
Who died?
Oh, no, mister. It is not my place to say.
Not your place. Nonsense. As you say, he won't mind.
Death with dignity, that's all we can hope for, sir. He doesn't need his name out there.
We're done.
This man is no more. He's ceased to be. He's expired and gone to meet his maker. He's a stiff. Bereft of life, he rests in peace. You know the rest. This man is no more. He's ceased to be. He's expired and gone to meet his maker. He's a stiff. Bereft of life, he rests in peace. You know
The bullet
the rest.
entered the heart at an angle, implying it was fired from an elevated position. He died instantly. Predictably, the rumors were exaggerated. The blindfold is intact, with both eyes unharmed. A key for a birdcage? I'll take it. A Webley top-break revolver. Blank cartridges filled with a wax-covered gelatin bullet. Effectively harmless, even at close range, but leaves a nice red splash on impact. The duelist eventually reloaded his gun, but all the cartridges were filled with red non-lethal rounds. A blindfold, discarded or lost. Your opponent was behind you.
You know what? That undertaker has a point. It is beautiful here. Gosh, how exciting. I always wanted to be a member of a club. I bet you couldn't join. No good at following orders, are you, Sherry?
Ah, the contest then. I shall prove my blind devotion, so to speak, to their inane rules, and you shall eat your words. blank cartridges filled with red wax-covered gelatin bullets, most assuredly non-lethal, if rather theatrical on impact. A case for dueling Webley revolvers. The corner of the box is broken, likely from being dropped. Red stains, relatively fresh. A Lamat revolver, .42 caliber. One chamber is empty, the others are filled with live rounds. The victim was killed by someone up on the wall. It may have been the referee who took advantage of the duelists while they were blindfolded. This seems plausible, but I must consider all options. What if there was another person here? The victim was killed by someone up on the wall. There may have been someone else here, a fourth person waiting for an opportunity to strike.
Sometimes I think beauty can blind you, or you can be blind to beauty, you know? Did he see it all around him, do you think, before he covered his eyes and drew his pistol?
Can we please leave the nattering behind?
Oh, friend, relax. Life's too short to be short with people.
Enough tomfoolery. Give me the victim's name.
I told you that's his business, not yours. 2 men duelled, 1 man died. When you hit a rock, stop digging.
There is more to this case than meets the eye. The victim fell not to his dual opponent, but a hidden marksman in the ruins. Abandon your oversimplistic ideals and tell me the name of the deceased so his killer can be caught.
Ah, that is wrong, to be sure. Okay, the man's name was Eric von Staub. I heard the officers say that he lived in Scaladio.
At last. You may return to your vacant stare.
Miss von Staub is awaiting the police, sir. Perhaps you might visit on another day. Good day, officer. Miss von Staub awaits you in her boudoir.
Good day, miss. I regret to disturb you at this tragic time, but could you spare a moment?
Oh, officer. I've been waiting. Is his body still in that horrible place?
A horrible place? I should introduce you to the Undertaker. But first, you and I shall get to know one another. I am Officer Holmes. I take it you are Magda von Staub, the sister of the deceased?
Oh, pardon me. Yes, I am.
My deepest condolences, Miss von Staub. Your brother's body will be returned to you shortly, as I believe the case will soon be closed. Nevertheless, there remain some formalities requiring attention. May I ask you a few questions?
Oh, if you must. But I'm unsure if I will be of much help.
Forgive my intrusion, but I must inquire about your bruises. Did you take a tumble?
Oh, I have a weak disposition. It is not so bad, but my skin marks more easily than a peach. It is the least of my sorrows.
But, Miss von Staub, I can tell you suffered new bruises even before the old ones had healed.
I have nothing more to add, Officer Holmes. It is what it is.
Do you know if Mr. von Staub had any enemies? Someone that may have sought to do him harm?
Enemies? I don't know. He and I did not discuss such matters, and he was rarely called upon by visitors. My brother's only guests were his friendly contests, but I was not allowed to participate. I merely heard it all from my room.
Contests?
Eric would practice shooting on the patio, and occasionally friends would join him, but I couldn't tell you if they ever argued.
Where were you when your brother died, Miss von Staub?
I was here painting Eric's portrait. My God, you could have asked the servants.
Alas, I needed to hear it from your lips. May I take a look at Mr. von Staub's room? His personal effects may prove invaluable in our understanding of the case.
Please do. Here's the key.
It appears the parents are dearly missed. Our beloved parents, 1875, Baden-Baden. Rest in peace. How many German composers feature here?
Look at those vases, Sherry. Bet they cost a fortune. Would be a shame if someone broke them.
Pew, 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 pew.
Oh, I love it when you're reckless. Were those Limoges porcelain?
You have a keen eye.
Well, I suppose it's yours. Next time, shoot with a blindfold.
A wealthy man in his 60s. Sir Barnaby Boddington, 1879. A typical crest for a league or a guild. Club headquarters, 190th anniversary celebration. This whip is well loved and well used. Are you able to help me?
I'll gladly tell you everything I know, officer.
An ointment by Dr. Herbert with a lavender and pine scent. Excellent score. A handsome portrait of Eric. Miss von Staub does have talent. The rounds have been emptied. The black paint looks thick. It's been mixed with something. The end and the beginning. She covered the locked windows with paintings, but the atmosphere remains oppressive. Sad home for a young woman. She covered the locked windows with paintings, but the atmosphere remains oppressive. Sad home for a young woman. She covered the locked windows with paintings, but the atmosphere remains oppressive. Sad home for a young woman. There is an unfinished portrait of your brother in your room. Beautiful to be sure, but one detail drew my attention. Why did you add gunpowder to your black paint?
You entered my room? I thought you were only inspecting Eric's.
It is standard procedure, Miss von Staub. Now, tell me about the gunpowder.
Eric's art was his shooting, and this painting is my tribute to him. It felt appropriate. We're both artists in different ways.
I found burnt letters in your brother's room. I believe they were addressed to you.
To me? From whom?
They appear to be from some of your suitors. Why did you burn them?
I didn't even know about them. Eric, he never said a word.
One of the revolver cases in your brother's room is missing. Do you know where it may be?
I'm not permitted in Eric's quarters. I suppose he must have taken it with him.
It seems you and Mr. Boddington were to be engaged. Were you as thrilled at the prospect as your brother?
Mr. Boddington is not how I had imagined my husband. But it was Eric's choice. I didn't dare dispute it.
Good day, officer. Miss von Staub awaits you in her boudoir.
May I ask for your assistance?
I'll gladly tell you everything I know, officer.
Could you help me? I'll tell you. No, mate. Not very protocol. May I ask you something?
I'll help you, sir. You have my full attention.
I'm terribly sorry, sir. Club members only.
How often do you think they check the submission box? My application deserves prompt consideration. Fancy? Not every manor has a custom floor.
That is the von Kramkrest, the old Prussian noble family. They must be patrons of the club.
The floor is so smooth and slippery. I wonder if I could skate on it.
It's the killer. Shake a leg. Get him.
It's all yours now. Go for it.
Don't bother moving. You've lost.
Time to knock.
Take a rest, my friend.
Give him the pepper snuff.
I couldn't miss the party.
Don't bother.
The snuff's ready.
Don't cry, you'll live.
Give him the pepper snuff.
Don't bother moving.
The snuff's ready.
Too simple.
Give him the pepper snuff.
Get ready for some. I couldn't miss the party.
Ow! Ow! Don't bother.
The snuff's ready.
I couldn't miss the party. I'm coming. I couldn't miss the party.
Too simple.
Give him the pepper snuff.
Take this! I'm coming. Oh!
Don't bother moving.
The snuff's ready.
Too simple.
Give him the pepper snuff. I must say, Sherry, that was near perfect. Could it be that you're not completely hopeless?
A nice apricot aroma. Marillen schnapps, I presume. Half full. 2 glasses with dregs of alcohol. Should I pour us a drink, John? Glass crushed underfoot with damp traces still visible. The same ingredient was used in the dueling revolver's ammunition. All these places are perfectly secluded, ideal for private duels. Clever system.
Who the devil are you? I won't go down without a fight.
Sherlock Holmes, and if I wanted a fight, you would already be on the floor. Fortunately for you, I'm merely here to ask a few questions.
Is that so? Well, come on, pretty boy. How about I fix that nose of yours? Give it a bit more character.
Enough. Your compatriots attacked me and I responded. They still have their lives, unlike Mr. von Staub.
True. At least you are not a murderer. Fine, you may speak.
So you are Mr. Von Kram, one of the club's best shots, the referee of the deadly duel, and witness to Mr. von Staub's murder.
Incorrect. I am the best shot at the club. Heinrich Jürgen von Kram. But how did you know I was there?
Your clothes, Mr. Von Kram. The dirt on your trousers confirms your presence in the old ruins. And your jacket features a bloodstain from your attempts to save Mr. von Staub.
That is impressive.
It is merely inferential. Now, a few questions, if I may.
Be my guest. I have nothing to hide.
I'd like to speak with the other competitor.
He left the island. Mr. Dorfman was sure that the killer was after him. He is innocent, I assure you.
Indeed, from his position it would be impossible to fire the bullet at such a downward trajectory, but he was a witness. Shame. So, what transpired in the old ruins?
Everything began as normal. The signatures, choice of weapons. I checked it all, and then blindfolded the duelists. Erich stood to my left, and his opponent, Mr. Dorfman, to my right. Before they could begin, the killer fired. And I'm sure it was not Dorfman.
Why are you so sure?
The sound was different. Not a Webley revolver, and further away. The killer must be an excellent shot to hit the heart.
You said the killer was an excellent shot. Do you suspect someone from the club?
Definitely not. No one from the club would break our rules.
Did you or the other duelist see the murderer?
No. The killer slipped away into the hills, so we turned our attention to Erich. Rest his soul.
And neither of you pursued the culprit?
I will not have my character impugned. We had only blank cartridges and a fallen friend at our feet. He was our focus.
What transpired after the shooting?
I heard Erich cry out and fall. Mr. Dorfman turned and fired at the killer, but I shouted at him to stop and help. I tried to save Erich, but it was too late. He was gone.
You have a nice collection of pistols, Mr. Von Kram.
Ah, a fellow connoisseur of firearms. Did something catch your eye?
What caught my eye is a missing Lamat. Where is it?
Ah, that one. I lost it in a bet. A rare failure of mine.
A bet with whom?
That's private, Mr. Holmes, and unrelated to your investigation.
I need to be elsewhere.
Look, Sherry, I'm head of the club.
Addressed to Heinrich von Kram and written with a nervous hand. Arrived just yesterday. How to sharpen one's senses. A remarkable tool to conveniently enhance anything. I could use one for my analysis.
Your ability to perceive the world can be developed with work and concentration.
Recordings labeled in Braille. Doesn't appear to be the happiest childhood. Cecilia von Kram with Heinrich, Cologne, 1864. Mein Wunder. There must be more you can recall from the day of the duel.
I wish. My eyes make me a poor witness, I'm afraid.
Yes, your blindness. An affliction since childhood, one presumes. No scars on your face, and you carry yourself with confidence.
I'm starting to see your worth, Mr. Holmes.
But this limitation developed your other senses and made you an excellent marksman. So, tell me, did you notice anything else?
I do recall a floral smell. Something artificial. It was sweet and fresh and came from the direction of the killer.
Do you recognize this scent?
Yes. This is it. The smell I noticed at the ruins. Where did you get it? Do you know who killed Eric? Tell me his name.
You and Eric were competing for the position of honorary consul, yes? Quite the title.
We were, but he stood no chance. Only a true nobleman could take such a role.
Difficult for him to contest it now. Last year, there was a similar incident in which a duelist died. What can you tell me?
A tragedy. I shot too well, and my opponent stumbled from the impact. He slipped and fell down the cliff. I regret it all. I have not participated in a duel since. Instead, I only take the role of a referee and supervise the proceedings for safety. I swore that no other club member would die in a duel. Alas, someone else intervened.
It seems you owed Mr. von Staub a small fortune.
A fortune to you, perhaps, but a trifle to me. Our debts ebbed and flowed. In our next contest, there was every chance I would win it back. Eric was too concerned about all that. Frankly, he often lacked the demeanor of a nobleman. His progressive tendencies could be grating.
I need to be elsewhere.
Miss von Staub is awaiting the police, sir. Perhaps you might visit on another day. Good day, officer. Miss von Staub awaits you.
Going on a trip, miss?
No, I'm leaving permanently. This place brought me nothing but sorrow. I am sorry. What do you want?
I think the time has come to be honest with each other, Miss von Staub. I'll start with my confession. I misled you in our previous meeting. My name is Sherlock Holmes, and I do not work for the police.
What? I don't understand.
In actuality, I was independently investigating your brother's death and came to an unexpected conclusion.
How? Why?
It was not a tragic accident, miss. It was cold-blooded murder. And I know the culprit.
No. Who is he?
Nice try, but as you well know, I'm talking to the culprit right now.
What? Are you out of your mind?
Certainly not. Allow me to explain how you killed your brother. The missing box in your brother's room contained a lamat, the same weapon used for the murder. You stole it to kill your brother.
What? No. Eric was obsessed with guns. I bet he simply left that revolver somewhere else.
Yes, it was left somewhere else. The crime scene. Abandoned in panic, a typical feminine response.
No, I've never been to that cursed place.
You hid behind the wall in the ruins. None of the others present could have killed Eric from that position. Both the duelists were blindfolded and Mr. von Kram is ill-sighted.
So nobody saw anything? Your imagination has run wild.
Ah, but you forget one thing. A blind man's other senses grow stronger. Mr. von Kram detected a lavender and pine scent. That of your ointment.
You're taking the word of a sightless man. This is monstrous.
It is your brother who was monstrous. He was a tyrant and you could tolerate his abuse no longer.
Living with Eric was a nightmare, yes. But he was my brother.
Now, Miss von Staub, take your time. Tell me the truth.
After our parents died, my life slowly became hell. My brother began to humiliate me. Then he became violent. Each day he'd invent a new punishment. Shut my room, burn my paintings, starve me. And without fail, I would be beaten. All visits were forbidden, all contact verboten. I was his caged bird, his pet. When we did go out, he used me to bait influential people. He sold me to Mr. Boddington simply to earn a place amongst this island's elite.
Was that not freedom from your brother?
He sold me as a thing, sir. Who do you think this gentleman was? I could not endure more cruelty. Mr. Holmes, I'm begging you. Please don't do this to me. Don't throw me from one cage to another.
You have suffered enough, Miss von Staub, but now it is over. I will not turn you into the police.
I don't know what to say. What will happen with the case?
The usual. With their typical stupidity, the inspectors will confidently declare the case a tragic accident, and that will be that.
I didn't expect such kindness.
Kindness? No, where the truth reveals injustice, I expect accountability, but in this matter, Miss von Staub, I see no injustice at all.
Thank you, Mr. Holmes. I'll never forget what you're doing.